I'm really interested to know what it is that motivates artists. I am a counsellor and I do some work occasionally in a clinical sense, but very rarely.
There's definite mental health shit that goes on with comedy, and there should be in festival. There probably should be some kind of a safe space or some kind of care centre where shattered comedians can go and talk.
There should be a psychologist put on by the festival for people to go and see if they're suffering, if they get a bad review, come into the office and have a talk, make an appointment and have a chat and let's work through it.
Whenever I needed help during the festival, I would ask people, and that ended up evolving into a joke during the festival about how I look like a bloke, but I'm not because I ask for help. I think there's a lot of sensitive people who could actually use some support while they work out who they're going to be on stage and all that kind of stuff.
So I said, look, I'm prepared to come and provide a pro bono service. I would like some money, but that's okay because I'm committed to it. And so what I provided was just being around and being available. And there was one incident I can remember quite well, and I won't say who it was, but there was a no-show for an international, and he was devastated.
They put so much of themselves out there. They help so many people because so many depressed people, so many people they have a psychological problem. So many people they are under stress. They come to Laugh Factory. The time they come to Laugh Factory, they walk out the Laugh Factory with a smile on their face because the comedian have a power of give them, and they don't get help themselves. So I want to give them some help myself. Richard Jenny was one of my comedians that he came in night before his suicide. He came to me and he wanted my attention. And a couple of nights before he came in the club, he looked like he needed help or something. And I put him on the stage. He got a standing ovation. But then the night before he came in here, he took me next door. We sit down, we talked. And he told me, how much he loves me, how much this. I didn't know any of that. I've seen so much stuff like that. I was trying to think, is any way, in any shape, could I prevent it? And at that point, I came up with the idea of, hey, maybe we should have a psychologist. We have 6 venues. In Los Angeles, we have it all the time, every night. The only another places we have once a while, not all the time, is in Chicago once a while. Now, if somebody have feeling depressed, somebody feeling something or something, if I see a comedian, they come in the lobby, they look like Richard Jenny. Immediately I'll go in action. I say, hey, do you mind to come, talk to a psychologist? And many of comedians, they came to me, they told me a few times that, hey, that psychologists up there saved their life because they were so depressed. They were so this. And I said, well, if I can do that, that's the most important thing, if we can prevent something like that happening.
I think America likes to put everything in place, and they love shrinks, they love psychologists, and I think they're absolutely essential. But I think there's a way of us dealing with our lives that sometimes is different in a subtle way from the Americans. And I think therein lies both our strength and our weakness. That is, we are able to get on with it. But we know that there are occasions that people fall off the wagon.
The thing that I've been very lucky with my illness and my career generally, is that I've had an unbelievably supportive and understanding wife. I feel for people who don't have that support. And in fact, I feel even for comedians with or without mental health issues who don't have that support. Bad gig, go home to a 1-bedroom flat in St Kilda, it's a pretty miserable, lonesome life unless you've got, a group of people who are friends and who stick together.
One of the things I observed and one of the things I learnt was that the comedy festival fraternity, if you like, are an incredibly supportive peer support group. And that was an insight for me that coming from a one-on-one counselling scenario, I saw that that was their greatest strength, that a lot of the peer support is incredibly important and it works well.
You know, you can do something like set up a Facebook page, comedians saying positive things about other comedians, and that's a good thing. That's great. But setting up any kind of forum where people can talk about problems in the industry, almost impossible, because often people don't understand what they're saying to each other, you know. And a part of that confusion comes from there's a lot of stuff that does go unsaid, you know, because the power is not in the hands of the comedians. Often it's in the hands of people who run rooms. So,
you know, most of the comedy club, unfortunately, they don't come from the roots I'm coming, because I was a comedian myself. I know what they felt. But unfortunately, I have not found any another comedy club pursue that, what I'm doing. A couple of them, they called me. They said, how much it costs? And I told them, as soon as I told them how much it costs, they immediately, they said, no, thank you. And that's the sad part of it, you know.
if money wasn't an object and time and people weren't an object, that weren't in the way, what would you set up? You know, what would you set up? Imagine that, and then maybe be surprised to find out what you can set up, you know.